Hello and welcome to Microtrains. I'm Eric Smith, President and CEO and the owner of Microtrains Line Company, and we're very excited to give you an in-depth look at how we produce some of the highest quality model trains in the world. Before you begin your tour, I'd like to give you a brief history of how Microtrains came to be. Our story begins back in the 1950s, where two twin brothers, Keith and Dale Edwards, began working on an idea for an operating HO scale knuckle coupler. After many prototypes, they struck success and the business KD Quality Products was born. In 1972, KD offered its first N-scale freight car, which they appropriately named the Microtrains line of the products. In 1985, they pushed the limits of small-scale modeling even further by entering Z-scale. But after years of growth, the brothers decided to split the company in 1990. Dale retained the HO scale product line under the name KD, and Keith took the N and Z scale lines, and Microtrains Line Company became its own business. From humble beginnings with hard work and a passion for model railroading and an idea that revolutionized the model railroading industry, Microtrains has been built on a history of American innovation and entrepreneurship, which we're excited to share with you. So put on your engineer cap and enjoy the tour.
Located in the heart of southern Oregon, in the beautiful Rogue Valley, the Microtrains factory is nestled in the small city of Talent, Oregon, just a few miles south of its original location. Here, the Microtrains' 33,000 square foot factory, designed by their founder Keith Edwards, specifically to maximize efficient production flow throughout the building, manufactures its exceptional quality, American-made N-scale and Z-scale rolling stock, locomotives, and parts and accessories. Microtrains is divided into several departments. The front office or administrative department is responsible for ordering, processing, marketing, new product development, and creating the production schedules for the monthly releases. It's the job of the customer service and sales team to process all orders and provide support and service to dealers and consumers alike. Microtrains distributes its product through its network of authorized Microtrains dealers direct to consumers via their online store. Microtrains has hundreds of dealers located throughout the United States and has many international dealers with concentrations in Canada, UK, Germany, Australia, and Japan. Of the 65 full-time employees, all but 10 are engaged in the manufacture of Microtrains products, which begins in the drafting and R&D or research and development departments. Obviously, before a product can be considered for manufacture, it must be researched and have detailed drawings made. Microtrains uses modern CAD, or computer-aided design and drafting systems. Placement of details, style of doors or hatches, fixtures, and even number and location of rivets are items that have made Microtrains the most desired N and Z scale model railroad products for many modelers today. Microtrains' reference library of prototype data includes a treasured set of Car Builder's Cyclopedia, which is used by the drafting and R&D departments to achieve detail that they are famous for. Those doing research also have access to years and years of useful magazine articles. The R&D room is also well stocked with competing manufacturers' locomotives and rolling stock to help Microtrains design coupler conversions so nearly every locomotive, freight, and passenger car ever made can be retrofitted with the famous Magnum-matic coupler. It's here where the R&D engineer with drafting and tooling spends many hours testing and examining new products. The details and operation of each new car or loco is analyzed on a number of levels to ensure it lives up to the famous quality of the company's products. The tooling department is where the parts begin to come to life. Here, Microtrains' precision tool and die makers and machinists take CAD drawings and create molds for the injection molding machines. There is a variety of equipment, both old and new, utilized in this department to achieve the intricate detail expected by Microtrains' customers. These tools are designed to handle the high pressure required by the mold machine to force plastics into the smallest of mold detail. One instantaneous slip of the tool, and dozens if not hundreds of hours of tedious work can be ruined. Depending on the complexity of the car style and the number of parts involved, a newly tooled body style can take 3 months to 10 months to complete and be ready for the plastics department. Once a new body style has been approved for engineering and tooling, it enters the production scheduling process with the other existing car styles to be scheduled into Microtrain's monthly release cycle. The scheduling process is so refined that Microtrains can produce an astounding 20 to 30 unique cars every month. This involves extensive car research and careful balance of production's capacities. Each group of cars are reviewed by committee to ensure the best possible mix of car styles and road names are offered each month. After the cars are approved for production, the information is sent to the Creative Service Department, where additional research is done to verify colors, fonts, and other specific information necessary to accurately create the artwork. These graphic artists use a variety of resources to accurately reproduce artwork found on prototype railroad cars. The Internet is obviously a great resource today, but they also have a full set of Morning Sun color guides and other railroad books. A third source is from customers who provide photos in the hopes that Microtrains will produce that particular car. If the information is unique and unknown to Microtrains, Microtrains will send a complimentary copy of that car to the customer as a way of saying thanks. Once the artwork is complete, the prints are separated according to how decorating can apply them to the car, and then the art is sent to film. The film is then sent out to the decorating department to be used in the printing process, which we'll revisit later in the tour. Pre-production samples are returned to the CS department for verification that all decorations have been applied as expected. These samples are then stored away for future reference, so Microtrains can match the model's color when reproducing the car years later. In addition to designing car art, the graphic artists also produce the artwork for Microtrains magazine ads, the monthly Micronews flyers, trade show materials, price lists, catalogs, pack wraps, set labels, car inserts, and other support materials. The plastics department is the true beginning of the manufacturing process. All plastic injection molding is done here, including shells and their related parts, such as the doors, roof walks, trucks, wheels, and couplers. The plastics department is also where parts prep work is done. To ensure the quality that Microtrains is famous for is maintained, every shot coming off every machine is monitored for as many as a dozen variables before the parts are approved to be sent to the next area, the decorating department. Another one of Microtrains' secrets of success is their strict adherence to the production schedules. This includes setup, running of the parts, cleanup and tear down, and setup for the next run. This is where a good deal of QC, or quality control activities, take place. Even the clear plastic boxes receive the same scrutiny as their precious contents. If they are defective in any way, such as flaws, scratches, or other imperfections, they are rejected, ground up, and the debris recycled. The decorating department consists of 4 specific steps or processes: painting, printing, masking, and mask making. The first is painting, where an automated paint booth is used to paint most of the shells and large parts. Many of the hundreds of smaller parts require painting by hand. While Microtrains has their own selection of specially mixed paints and inks, they also order custom colors when needed to make certain the color best matches the color of the real-life car. Oftentimes, shells need to be masked, where the roof, sides, or features are of a different color from the rest of the car. But before masking can take place, the mask has to be made. This process starts with placing the shell into a nickel bath, where it will stay for 4 days to plate the shell. From there, the metal copy of the shell is soldered into a large mounting plate. Then begins the technical handcraft of cutting out the mask. This is a slow process that requires exacting precision with little room for error. Once the mask has been cut, it's tested and then sent to the masking machines. Here the maskers hold the shell in place, and a paint gun underneath the masking plate sprays the shell. This process is often repeated multiple times on each car to guarantee proper coverage. After being painted and masked, the shells move to pad printing, where single and multiple head pad printers are utilized to achieve the finest print details. But before printing can begin, they must first take the film provided by the Creative Service Department and transfer it to metal plates using a special acid formula to etch the detail into the plate. Here you can see the pad head take the ink off of a plate and transfer it onto the car. It's a technical process that has many variables to contend with, but once mastered, very fine, extremely small details can be realized. It's well known that plastic isn't the only material used in the manufacturing of the Microtrains line. The underframes of Microtrain cars are metal, which give them weight and stability that allow them to track so well. The die casting department is where these metal underframes and other weights are made. This is the process of die casting, where you inject hot metal into a cold die. The metal solidifies, the die opens, and the part is ejected, and it repeats its cycle. The familiar black color is cooked into the underframe using a series of baths. This provides a more durable black finish to the silver zinc than what paint can achieve. It's much more efficient. A component common on many Microtrains cars are loads. These loads can make a relatively plain car very interesting. There are two types of loads Microtrains uses: resin cast and laser cut. With resin loads, a master model of the load is made, which is used to produce a family mold, which is then used to make the rubber mold for production. From here they can pour resin and insert into pressure pots, which forces the resin into the crevices of the rubber mold. After curing, some secondary handwork is required to remove imperfections. Some loads look much better cut from actual wood, so Microtrains puts their lasers to work. These lasers are also used to produce a variety of accessories and trackside structure kits for the modeler's layout. Once the loads are done, they move on to the assembly department along with all the other parts to be assembled together. After all the parts have been painted and prepped, they move to the final phase of the production process, assembly. Here you'll find sub-assembly processes such as truck assembly and assembly of the famous Magnum-matic couplers. These miniature operating couplers are meticulously assembled and tested. Tucked into the corner of the assembly department is a small machine with a big job. It makes the trip pins that allow the couplers to work. This machine is fed wire stock from a large reel. Each pin is bent, cut, and temporarily glued with others into a bar, and then they are sent to another area within the assembly department. Here is a sub-assembly step using a manufacturing tool called a jig. There are dozens of these jigs, specially designed and built by the tooling department to help make difficult assembly steps more efficient and consistent in quality output. After sub-assembly steps are complete, adding parts such as brake wheels and doors to boxcar shells or roof hatches to cover hopper shells is performed, one part at a time, one car at a time, and all by hand. Each employee is responsible for quality control at their phase of the process. Cars that are discovered to have flaws are set aside and disposed of. When the final assembly is complete, the cars are placed inside the clear plastic boxes safely nested to protect the cars during shipment. The third area of work in the assembly department is packaging, where Microtrain's selection of more than 300 different accessories, replacement parts, loads, and laser kits are packaged into various clamshells and bags that you see available on those pegboards at your local hobby shop. The shipping department is where all of the finished goods are stored on shelves in numerical order until they are pulled for orders. Here the shipping department staff receives orders, pulls the product, and boxes up the order. Every day, these little masterpieces ship out to locations all around the world, and if you're a customer ordering direct from Microtrain's online store, you can have them shipped directly to your door. Eric's wife, Vicki, is the daughter of founders Keith and Coral Edwards, and she is co-owner of Microtrains with her husband.
Growing up, I watched my dad put his heart and soul into this business. He loved trains, and he loved sharing his passion with others. Now, many years later, we are fortunate enough to carry on his amazing American legacy of ingenuity and entrepreneurship. My father was committed to quality, to his employees, to the customer, and to the hobby, and that's what built this business. Today, those are the qualities Microtrain strives to maintain.
Thank you for joining us on the tour. We hope you caught a glimpse of what it takes to produce a single Microtrains car and why we take so much pride in what we believe are the finest quality model trains in the world.